Hey everybody, this week in Art ADT we're going to be working with a slightly different format in terms of the exercises and the studio tutorial. So I wanted to post a video that explained the exercise a little bit more and not only told everyone what to expect and describe the project a little bit more, but also to talk about a little bit more about the artists and the techniques that we're pulling from and that are really inspiring this particular assignment. So this week in lecture, we're going to be looking at animation, and animation involves a few different concepts. So you're working with the concept of time, and you're also working with the concept of using time to speed up the succession of still images to then create this sense of movement. So looking at all those three factors and elements that are all kind of making up animation, I wanted to create a project that not only allowed people to learn animation technique, but to also give people a chance to deconstruct animation a little bit and to really understand what we're seeing when we look at something that has been digitally animated, as well as what we're seeing when we're looking at things like video. And yeah, well, pretty much those two things. So what it really is when we're seeing animations in video and how that's constructed within a digital framework. So the artist that you're going to be the artist that has really influenced this project is this person, well, not this person, but the person who produced this photograph. His name was Etienne Jules Marey. And he's a French photographer, scientist, artist, really interesting person. And he was producing these images and these photographs probably from the 1870s to the 1890s. And so this is very, very early photographic work. And he was one of the pioneers when it came to developing photographic technologies for capturing movement, but then also the printing process and the photographic printing process that allowed him to communicate these ideas of movement after he had captured them. So what you're seeing, this technique is a technique that he developed called chromophotography, and it was the ability to take a series of exposures or photographs in rapid succession, and then they're overlaid onto a single photographic film. So you get these prints that have these multiple frames of movement. And as you can tell, not only did he develop this technology, but he also developed the way in which that technology was used, which I think is a wonderful theme to think about and apply to the rest of this class. So some of these are a little bit more specific. A little bit more representative, so you can tell the different subjects that he's photographing. You can see potentially the animals that he's photographing, or you can see the forms that he's photographing in order to capture their movement. But he's also, in some of these images, developed ways to create the sense of movement and to communicate it in a more abstract way. So this is a great example. He would set up his models and the subjects that he was photographing. He would clothe them in black in some cases and then apply tape or white fabric to their arms, or I think it was also just paint sometimes. So he used this sense of contrast, and I think that this is a really great example here he used this contrast and this artistic principle of contrast in photography to create these really abstract images that just really focus on the motion. So when you see the human form, I think that there's a way of kind of reading into that and saying, oh, of course, that's what a person looks like when they're moving. But then once the images start to become more abstract and a little bit harder to see in their still form, you really begin to focus on the movement. And I think it's a really interesting way of exploring that movement and archiving or documenting that movement and also communicating it. So I think that these images are really amazing now. They're very complex, and even with the advancements in digital technology and digital imaging and photography that we have now, I think it's pretty interesting that these images still seem very unique and also seem very relevant to different studies that are happening right now. And I can't imagine what it must have been like at the time that these were taken, because not only was this the first time that these types of compositions were being shown, so things like movement and capturing movement, these are things that the futurists were exploring in the 1930s and 1940s with painting. This photographer was able to capture in terms of, and using actual photographs to capture it, so there's a sense of realism there associated with it, and doing this probably 50 years before that. So yeah, I think just really amazing images, and these images and this artist is is what is inspiring the project that we're going to be working on. So the big change in terms of the format with this exercise this week is that instead of doing 4 little mini exercises and submitting each of those at the end of the week, you're going to be doing a 4-step exercise and then submitting just that last, the 2 products of that final exercise. So don't even worry about the 2 products, but you're only going to be submitting 1 exercise at the end of the week, and it's going to be worth about the same as 4 exercises or 3 exercises have been in the past several weeks. And so what the steps of this exercise are, and let me just generally introduce it. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking video, a video clip of motion, and these are things, video clips that we, the TAs and I are going to post, so you don't need to worry about trying to find or supply your own video. We've gone through and curated a couple of video clips that are going to be ideal for this project. So you're going to be able to choose from a variety of them, and then once you've chosen the video that you want to use, you're going to be basing an animation on that video. So that's the general sense of the project. You are going to not only be providing an animated GIF, but you're also going to be creating a still image that compiles all of the different frames that you are illustrating to create this animation, similar to something like this, as the other half of the project. So you're actually going to be turning in 2 things. One is going to be the animated GIF or GIF, I never know which one, and the other is going to be a still image that overlays each of these different frames of movement that you're capturing on a single layer, or in a single composition. So you can use multiple layers because layers are very powerful and flexible. But yeah, those are all going to be compiled in a single image. And part of the reasoning behind this is that I'm looking at trying to explore animation, and so trying to first deconstruct video and what it means to have a video, and how video really is just a series of still images that are strung together and then sped up so that it creates this effective movement. So what we're going to be doing is going into the videos, pulling out specific frames that you're going to be then basing still drawings on in Illustrator, and then you're going to be taking those still drawings that you've made and then creating a single still composition that still communicates motion and movement. And then the last step, you're going to be taking all those illustrations, bringing them back into Photoshop, and then animating them. So each of these steps is going to be gone into detail in the next upcoming videos. So don't worry about if you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about right now or how you're going to get started. I go through step by step, and just make sure that you are watching the videos fully and checking the message, or using the discussion boards if you have questions. And on top of that, after watching this video, it's really important that you check the written assignment description in Canvas. Anything that I say in Canvas and is written down in Canvas that conflicts what I'm saying right now, or potentially what I say in one of the videos, just go with what's written, because that is kind of the easiest way for us to make changes to things. So, and if you ever have a question about any kind of requirement, those are the types of things that you can talk to me or the TAs about. So I think I'm going to leave now. Just wanted to, again, really introduce this artist and show a couple more examples of what I'm talking about when I'm saying, oh, create a still image that communicates a sense of movement, and take these frames that you're going to use to eventually animate some type of movement and create them into a single image. So I think that this is artwork that and photography that is really amazing and really exhibits this. And it's also things that are still techniques that are being used in Photoshop and in Illustrator today and with other types of animation. Okay, so make sure to read that assignment, the assignment details for this animation exercise or animation project, and then you can get started with step 1 video.